day to you all viewers of Equinoxe television. It's 6 p.m. in Moyuka in the southwest region, and it's time for the news. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm just Taris this evening. There can be no transparent and fair election with the present political dispensation in Cameroon, especially in a context marked by violence, tribalism, hatred, and disregard for the respect of human and political rights. These are the words of prominent historian and author Hardship in an interview he granted a sister channel recently. You will be having details of that outing in this news edition. Plus, another widely read magazine, Jeune Afrique Economie, describes the opposition in Cameroon as utterly unserious, just to say the least. The magazine wonders why it seems so impossible for the parties to form a bloc against the ruling CDM party if really they want to bring change to Cameroon. We will be bringing to you the reactions of Barrister Keremuna Kabralibi and also Serge Espoir Matomba on the publication of Jeune Afrique in this edition. And also the presidential election approaches in Cameroon. The National Communication Council meets with media managers to avoid misinformation and other vices in the electoral process. Viewers, those are our lead stories. Details and more when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for the confidence. We begin this edition of the news with a sad human interest story from the Mongo division. A road accident which occurred at about 5 a.m. that was today caused the lives of at least 2 persons. We're expecting to have those images of that accident on the screen. 2 persons died in that accident, and like I said, it happened at about 5 a.m. The accident involved a transport bus belonging to General Transport Agency. The 70-seater bus hit a station truck on the road which had no signals. The bus was heading to the west region early today when the accident happened, and the truck was transporting wood, like we can see on the screen there. The several persons were injured also, as 2 persons lost their lives. Those who were injured in that accident were rushed to the St. John of Mount hospital in Jumbe. There they are receiving medical attention. Meanwhile, the General Transport Agency has expressed sincere condolences to the bereaved families and also a quick recovery to those who are receiving medical attention in different hospitals. That was in a communique that was signed by General today. And now over to one of our lead stories. We told you that Hardship, a renowned Cameroonian philosopher and also essayist, has expressed deep concerns about the upcoming October 12 presidential election in Cameroon. According to Hardship, a free and fair independent election is not possible at this time in the country. He emphasizes the need to address tribalism and fixation on specific groups like the Bamileke ahead of the elections in the country. For me, Armstrong Standard tells us more about that outing.
In an emphatic and categorical manner, Hardship says a free and independent election in Cameroon is not possible at this time. In an interview on the French International Radio Network, RFI, the Cameroonian philosopher called for an end to what he says is a regime-orchestrated tribalism and a fixation on the Bamilekes. But before this, he began by analyzing Cameroon's how far under the 43-year-old CPTM party regime.
Puis lors, c'est l'inertie qui prévaut, alors qu'on se dirige vers une nouvelle...
Hardship says he visited Yaoundé a few weeks ago and was even more disappointed with the level of stagnation in the country, beginning with the heaps of waste abandoned in the city to poor roads infrastructure. Hardship says Cameroon has stagnated under the CPTM party regime, which he accused of concentrating resources in building tribalism, division and segmentation among the Cameroonian people, leaving them in extreme poverty and misery. He says Maurice Kamto's exclusion from the October 12, 2025 presidential election was motivated by the anti-Bamileke sentiment within the CPTM party regime than justified legal considerations. To him, the current electoral code in Cameroon is simply a weapon to conserve and consolidate the CPTM regime power. He says everything has been fashioned to facilitate a selection exercise for the CPTM regime, easing an elimination of serious contestants like Professor Maurice Kamto. Without a total reformation of the electoral code, he doubts the possibility of a credible and independent election in Cameroon at this time. About the difficulties of the Cameroonian opposition in having a 1992-like opposition coalition, the philosopher and essayist regrets that the opposition in Cameroon reflects a wider reality of the Cameroonian society, extremely divided and powerless. He blames the ruling government for a fragmented Cameroonian opposition and society, highlighting that the government has used state resources to create complicity camps in all the sectors of the Cameroonian society in what he qualifies as an unorthodox divide and rule policy.
Je ne veux pas manquer de respect à l'égard d'un vieillard.
He regrets that Paul Biya at his age is seeking another mandate. To him, this can only happen in an abnormal country like Cameroon.
And just to let you know that in their various reactions, Barrister Keremuna somehow gives reasons to Achille Mbembe, meanwhile Cabral Libi and also Serge Espoir Matomba kicks against all his words. Now let's talk something else. Media practitioners in Douala, one of the major media hubs in Cameroon, have been reminded to be meticulous as they go about their activities to avoid political unrest before, during, and after the forthcoming presidential election in Cameroon. The reminder came from the President of the National Communication Council, Joe Chebonken Kalabubsu, as he met with media practitioners, professionals, and also media managers in Douala today. Babila Jonathan was there.
As the presidential election in Cameroon draws nearer, different stakeholders are cutting their teeth and dotting their I's to ensure free, fair, transparent and acceptable election, and above all, peace before, during and after October 12, 2025. The National Communication Council, NCC, is raising barricades against vices like misinformation, disinformation, fake news, hate speech in the media, and other unlawful and unorthodox practices that could jeopardize the electoral process and the peace and stability of the nation.
We want to draw the attention of the press that they have to remain as professional as possible, provide equitable information, provide equal time and space for all the competing candidates, and try as much as they can, professionally speaking, to avoid disinformation, hate speech, and incitement to violence during this period. We, first of all, have invited the press to suspend, particularly the audiovisual, to suspend all political programs during the campaign period.
It is the objective of the meeting with pressmen and women in Douala Wednesday.
We will follow minute by minute what is happening in the audiovisual sector, and that will enable us make judgments. Thirdly, we are providing bilingual manuals that will help the journalists with the do's and don'ts during this electoral period. And so we expect that it will be able to help the press to be able to do just what they are supposed to do, inform Cameroonians so that they can make informed choices when the moment comes on the 12th of October.
The NCC president says the utmost target of the media regulator is to ensure that journalists do their job within the ambits of ethics and deontology of the profession and the laws of the land.
And now the widely read magazine Jeune Afrique Economy describes the opposition in Cameroon as utterly unserious, just to say the least. The magazine wonders why it seems so impossible for the parties to form a bloc against the ruling CPDM party if they really want to bring change to the country. In the report which comes up next, our reporter Immaculate Fogwe compares the reactions of Barrister Keremuna Cabral Libi and also Serge Espoir Matomba.
Afrique, an international media platform whose verdict labeled Cameroon's opposition as the stupidest in Africa, shocked some opposition candidates. With 11 candidates disputing the upcoming presidential elections come October 12, Politicians, human rights defenders and civil society actors continue to question the absence of 92-year-old President Paul Biya from the public scene and his ability to maintain his grip in power. To Jeune Afrique, while the opposition stays divided, the system of corruption and nepotism remains intact. Reacting to the outing of Jeune Afrique, Barrister Keren Muna, a presidential candidate, states that the article acts like a mirror. According to him, the question is no longer whether the opposition will unite, but whether it will be courageous and lucid enough to do so. Because Cameroon's future could well depend on a strong coalition around a consensual candidate. Another candidate, Honorable Cabral Libi of the Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation, presented by his party members as a choice of reason and the people, in response, invites other opposition members to unite behind Cabral on October 12 to overthrow the current regime, evoking a wise and supposedly the most objective choice according to Barrister Tamfo Richard. Serge Espoir Matumba, also a candidate in the October 12 election, points an accusing finger at certain candidates who, according to him, benefit from external support to present themselves as a unique alternative. He affirms that Cameroonians don't need an imposed candidate or strategy, while citing the current president of Senegal, Diomaye Faye, who won the presidential election without being the sole candidate of the opposition. He urges Cameroonians to rise up and fight for their rights.
Rights advocates have decried the continuous violation of the rights of Camerooners via arbitrary arrest and illegal detention. Legal mind Fabienne Kenya is pressing for the release of one of the victims, Banjun Jacques, detained at the New Bell prison. Let's now have the details with Babila Jonathan.
Lawyer Fabienne Kenya is shocked by what he qualifies as unlawful detention of a young man, Mbadjoun Jean-Jacques, at the Douala Central Prison.
Il est interpellé devant un snack.
Arrested over a love affair involving him, a young woman, and another young man who is said to have masterminded his detention. He is now being held for other reasons. We are told the young man who ordered the arrest of Mbadjoun Jean-Jacques went to request his release, explaining that he just wanted to prove his superiority over Jean-Jacques the next day, but was told that the matter had taken another twist, a political twist connected to his outright support for disqualified presidential aspirant Professor Maurice Kamto.
On est tombé sur son portable et on découvre qu'il est un sympathisant de Kamto.
His lawyer, Fabienne Kenya, demands justice for his client. Mbadjoun Jean-Jacques is a holder of a master's degree in communication, but in the absence of a job, the husband and father of 2 children has been exercising his talent in comedy on Facebook.
5 workers' trade unions with renowned representation in Cameroon have addressed a memorandum to candidates of the October 12 presidential election. They are bearing burning desires of Cameroonian workers in both the private and public sector, and some of the plights include poor working conditions, low wages, insecurity at their workplaces. Innocent Azer reports.
Candidates for the October 12 presidential election are reminded of the chronic socio-economic hardship affecting Cameroonians, requiring urgent remedy. For Cameroon to keep enjoying peace and stability, the Confederation of Cameroon Trade Union, CCTU, and 4 other highly represented trade unions addressed a memorandum jointly signed by their presidents to the contenders of the top position of the Republic.
It's not only the worker in the private companies. So we present to the candidate the message of the workers. The message of the workers is to see all the problems the workers are facing and put them in their programs. The problems are in our memorandum, and the memorandum is given to all the candidates.
Expectations of these 5 trade unions protecting the rights of Cameroon workers center on amelioration of working conditions and purchasing power through increased minimum wage, institution of a national employment structure and professional training, institution of a national social protection plan, social dialogue through respect of trade unions' liberty, rights of trade unions, collective negotiation and conflict resolution mechanism.
La confédération signataire du présent mémorandum reste ouverte au dialogue.
According to leaders of these trade unions, the presidential candidates must take into account their proposals contained in the memorandum.
If
they do not take our proposals into consideration in their first mandate, they will not be elected for a second term. Secondly, if they do not implement these expectations of Cameroonian workers, we, the trade unionists, will be on their neck because the population will be pressurizing us. Their mandates will be in chaos due to frequent conflicts with us. We will not allow the next president in peace. We will have series of strikes to handle. So they should be aware right now to avoid repeated conflicts with us when in power.
En fait, c'est une invite pour les inviter à comprendre que si vous ne voulez pas avoir des problèmes avec des confédérations, appliquez ce que les confédérations syndicales vous demandent.
Emphasizing they remain apolitical, the trade unions leaders plan on channeling the memorandum to the different presidential candidates this August 28.
Now, on our Back to School series tonight, as the next academic year resumes, that would be on September 8, 2025, the hard economic situation in the country makes it really difficult for some parents to send their children back to school. Our reporter Mala Glory now brings to us updates on the level of preparedness of parents and also their priorities at this moment.
For many Cameroonian parents, every September is a time of anxiety, leading to sleepless nights as they anticipate the reopening of schools for the new school year. Meeting some parents on the streets of Douala, they say this year they even have more reasons to sway agitations amidst increased turbulence of the economy and the political situation of the country. I don't even know if the children will go to school because I don't know where to start. I have a lot of difficulties. I have a child that will be going to the university and another to the seminary, and all this with a salary below 100,000. So imagine. We started preparing bit by bit, register the kids despite the fears, because many are still reluctant to register their children now because of the upcoming elections. To reduce the much pressure, Yamwe Vincent, father of 5, says he started preparing for the school year months back.
I anticipate I start maybe many months behind.
Just like him, Mabiang Mark Lobe, before the end of the former school year, made a brilliant decision.
From the first day, the children, they gave their report card. In our meeting, we have a savings account. So for the past 3 months, I've been saving.
As September comes with heavy expenses, parents set their priorities right and what is best for the kids as they resume classes.
The registration is a priority because you must register first. And after, the exercise books first, because I know I cannot afford everything at the same time because of the difficult time that we have now.
I will also take a list and do what is necessary to complete the files. Uniform should be sold because the very first day, your children should be wearing her uniform.
In whatever situation, children, they say, have the right to education. Thus, the government and the authorities concerned should facilitate the back-to-school preparation for parents by increasing the standard of living in Cameroon.
And now let's talk security in this edition. The new commander of the 3rd Joint Military Region, Brigadier General Nous, has been urged to leverage his expertise in the fight against insecurity in the Adamawa and North regions of the country, which have been affected by attacks, assaults and kidnappings for ransoms by armed groups, especially Boko Haram. Brigadier General Nous was installed alongside a new commander of the 3rd Gendarmerie Region, Raymond Bombiswe. Lucy Diengo is here to us more.
With less than 13 days to the start of the academic year, the pressure on parents to meet their children's school needs is mounting. Many parents in the city of Douala expressed that, considering the economic hardship, they are relying on social contributions, locally referred to as Njangi, to cover educational expenses such as tuition, textbooks, notebooks, and more, while some prefer borrowing from banks. Since I have to prepare my children for school from the month of June, borrowing money early enables me to prepare adequately until September. Magdalene Bijat, president of Njangi Association, states that months before the start of the next academic year, the association begins collecting contributions to permit parents to borrow with interest. They also offer a 5% refundable loan to be paid back after a month, enabling parents to secure necessary school needs for their children. In a financial institution we visited, approximately 200 applications for back-to-school loans had been submitted from mid-June onward.
Important to say we started the campaign in mid-June to today, and this is already the number. I can estimate it to almost 200 gold loans that have already worked. I have this other one that I received today already. I'm waiting for the authentication of their documents for me to proceed in.
To alleviate financial burdens, clients can borrow up to 10 million francs CFA.
The school loan year has a limit of 10 million on maximum of 11 months. We have an advantage on the percentage paid back. That is a percentage that the bank gives as charges to the customers, which is 11.5 per year. The people eligible: private salary worker, civil servants, retirement customers.
Despite financial constraints, parents are determined to give their children the best education.
Lucille Ingu is here reporting on how parents cope financially during this back-to-school period. Now let's tell you how Cameroon is faring in just a moment. On Cameroon today, we take you to Dimako, where unemployment has forced most of the young people to get into petty activities to make ends meet. Dimako, which is at a crossroads, is faced with so many problems, unemployment being one of them. The area also lacks potable water and also good roads. Simon Gabriel takes us to Dimako.
Dimako subdivision in the Upper Young division in the heart of Cameroon's eastern region is a strategic crossroad town with the national road number 10 passing through it. It's a locality rich in forests and mines, which on paper promises a prosperous future. Recently, a modern bus station and a new town hall were constructed to give the town a new facelift. But behind the display of infrastructures, the daily lives of the residents reveal a completely different reality, one of persistent isolation and profound poverty. The roads, mostly dirty, are impassable during the rainy season and stifling during the dry season. For this agricultural village, transporting produce to big cities is a real obstacle. The young people here face another ordeal, which is that of unemployment. Jean is a holder of a baccalaureate certificate. He dreamt of going to the university, but due to the lack of funds, he had to abandon his studies and today drives a tricycle to survive. The situation in the country forced me to do this, and with the situation, one has to work extra hard to have a simple life than to school without getting employed. That is how I got myself into driving a tricycle. With the tricycle, he can at least feed his family. This wasn't his wish, but it's better than nothing, he says. Here in Dimako, tricycle replaces pickups in the transportation of plantains, corn, sand and firewood. Seeing that things are hard in the country, we decided to get engaged in this sector. We don't complain because we are managing at our level. Some youths of my age think it's schooling that will make them to advance, but after forcing without succeeding, it's better they come join me in my sector. With him are other young people who have turned tricycle business into a lifestyle in the face of lack of opportunities. A few kilometers away is Bernard. He washes cars. To do his job effectively, he uses a bucket, a brush, a sponge and a soap, a rudimentary activity on the banks of this river. We are forced to struggle this way because youths of today, if we don't struggle this way, we can't overcome. Since jobs are not readily available, we are obliged to do this rather than going to steal. If we don't do this, we are forced to work in the farms. I've been washing cars now for the past 15 years. It's not moving very well because I have no means. The river, in fact, illustrates another major challenge faced by inhabitants of Dimako, which is the access of potable water. Nearly 75% of the population here depends on developed springs. Calm water is available, but drinking water remains a luxury. It's a health hazard and puts pressure on families who had to go to streams even to do their laundry. Because of poverty, some parents send their children out on the road to trade. These children are deprived of schooling, exposed to accidents, assaults, and a compromised future. And yet, Dimako has fertile land. Cocoa, coffee, cassava are grown, and it's from this that they make their living. But without roads, without support, and with an unstable market, the wealth of this land remains imprisoned.
Thanks, Matt. That does it for the first part of the news. Let's now move on to Talking Point. Welcome back. Our guest tonight is Madam ATEGHA Stella. We missed you, that was in the other edition. You are the founder of the Reference Bilingual School in Bonaberi and Bambutus, and above all, you are a parent. And today we'll be talking about the difficulties parents face sending their children to school. Schools will resume for the next academic year. Madam, thank you for being our guest. Less than 2 weeks. Pupils will be going to school, and also children and also students. Registration has been going on in most schools in Douala and across the national territory. In the news, we learned that some parents are still reluctant because of diverse reasons, especially the political atmosphere in the country. Can you explain to us, Madam Stella, how it happens at your end?
Yes, Madam. Thank you. That's a very good one. The readiness of the parents is really lukewarm, as I can say. Most of them, the few who pass around, they don't have the means, they will express themselves, they don't have the means to register the children because they do not have money. But then a good number of them who have little means to register the children, they are afraid of the political situation of the country. They think that the elections may interrupt schools and school may not go on. So they keep persuading that we should give them chance to come register these children and pay their fee after the election, which is somehow impossible because we, the school authorities too, we have gone into loans to make sure that the schools are ready. So we will need this fee and registration from them so we can keep the teachers functioning. So, and a good number of pupils that we have who are foreigners. For example, we have kids schooling here who are from the US, from England, from Canada. About 80% of these pupils have gone back to their respective countries for fear of the political climate of Cameroon now. Their parents believe that the elections may disrupt this education system, and they are not sure if the country will be stable anytime soon.
Now, when parents express these fears, what do you tell them, or how do you reassure them? Because above all, you are a parent.
Yes, with these parents who complain not to pay because they are afraid of the political climate, I keep advising them that the education of our children has nothing in common with politics. That education cannot be mixed with politics. And so they should be hopeful. They should look for means and come and pay this fee, because as soon as they pay the fee, it will be recorded even if 1 or 2 weeks of school becomes disturbed because of election or so, they will definitely come back, the children will come back and they will continue from where we stop. And the administration with its staff will ensure that all the work that is undone within the 1 week of election or so will be catch up. So the parents should not mix things, because in as far as a country is existing, the education of the children can never be tampered with.
Before we go, Madam ATEGHA Stella, we have been getting feedback from different educational institutions on how prepared they are or have been after the program of the new school here was made public by the minister. What's your level of preparedness at reference?
Madam, thank you so much. I will clearly state here that even though the 3 months, the holidays was 3 months as given by the government, here in reference bilingual nursery and primary school, our teachers had 1 month break, which they got enough rest, and immediately after that 1 month, we organized an in-training seminar through which they have acquired a lot of skills to improve on their performance as the children will be coming back. So they are very prepared to dish out what they have learned during this seminar to the children. And concerning pedagogy work from the government, like their schemes of work, they have worked on the schemes, they have broken it down already into teachable lessons, and they are ready with the new teaching methods that they have acquired, they will use in their classroom to better the performances of their children.
Thank you so much, Ma'am, for accepting to be our guest on the news tonight. Encourage to all the parents who are preparing to send their children back to school come September 8th. Viewers, that was what we put together for you on the news this evening in the English language on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for always being there. Our programs continue tonight. Equinoxe World comes up at 7 p.m. and the news in the French language will be yours at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television, and we will be together again tomorrow, same time, God willing. Bye-bye for now.